It's here, it is here, finally, the deciding game of Manchester United's horrific season is here. Match night tonight, all of the build-up and all of your information regarding the content coming up on that as well. We are going to touch on what is going on in Bilbao at the moment as well at the back end of this show. But of course, first of all, to kickstart your day, we're getting into all of the news in and around Manchester United, back home, transfer news and other events happening. And there's a really, really interesting story that I want to start with this morning from Paul Hurst from the Times, which is about Ruben Amorim's relationship with Sir Jim Ratcliffe. Now, you can look at this whichever way you want to and decide whether you think it's a good thing or a bad thing. I'll go into the details of it, but it does seem like Ruben Amorim is part of what I can see from this, and we'll read it out in a minute, a bigger project with Ineos and what's happening. We've got all of that to come. I'll get into the details of that. We're going to talk about Emi Martinez as well. Villa has set the price for him. Altay Bayndeh is going to be sold this summer as well to make way for another goalkeeper to come in. A decision is going to have to be made on Andre Onana on that side of things. Manchester United, obviously, we know where we're at with what happened last night with Victor Gyökeres, the striker front. It is done. Everything is set. Everything is ready. It is all going to come down to us having a rather worrying next few days and few months going into the transfer window, or an excited one because of what's happening tonight. It's going to be a mad one, and tonight is huge. I can feel the matchday vibes kicking in already. I've already got a headache worrying about things. When you wake up on matchday with a headache, it usually means it's a big game, and that's me this morning, honestly. I'm just going to try and stay as busy as possible, and of course we'll keep you up to date with everything going on around Manchester United throughout the day like we usually do here on Forever United TV. But I'm already up to here, honestly, and it is a real mad one. But look, we're trying to make light of it. We're trying to make a bit of fun with it as well, and that's obviously what we're trying to play as well. With the link in the live chat right now, that's our match bingo game tonight as well. More on that in a little bit, but someone on the subscriber base will be winning over 300 quid tonight in game, and we will announce the winner actually after the game as well here on YouTube. If you get involved, the link is there. More on that in a bit. First of all, let's get into what's happening in and around Manchester United. And it looks like Ruben Amorim's future is safe. That's how I read this situation here anyway, from Paul Hurst from the Times. Really interesting extracts from his piece today that I'm going to just read out now. The first one is this. Jim Ratcliffe has high regard for Ruben Amorim. The two speak on the phone every week. They occasionally communicate in a WhatsApp group that includes other higher ranking people at United as well. After a match, Amorim shares his thoughts on the encounter in a mini match report, and the data is also shared with the group. Ineos genuinely believe that with a full pre-season and squad reshuffle, Ruben Amorim will have the tools to bring success back to Manchester United. Now, normally when we're talking about this, or let's just say any particular club starts talking like this, the fans are listening in, the owners give the backing to the manager, it's that usual kiss of death, like the curse of being backed by the ownership. It feels different. To me, and how I read this is, it's like just that bit alone there where Ruben's talking to the owner every single day. That's not normal. I mean, let's be honest, we've had 2 decades worth of Glazer ownership where they've had zero input whatsoever. Some people may look at this and say, is Sir Jim Ratcliffe micromanaging Ruben Amorim in trying to get Manchester United where he wants them to be by listening in and taking more of an interest in Manchester United? Maybe he thinks that 2 decades of Glazers just being sat out in Florida doing nothing, just letting other people, another management team run Manchester United is where we've gone wrong in the past. Maybe he feels the hands-on approach is where the ownership model needs to be with Ineos and Manchester United, and that's what Ruben needs, the full support and backing. Rather than having management teams in place just reporting back to the Glazers and them just making a decision off results and what's on paper, maybe a personal relationship between the ownership and Ruben Amorim is how we see this club moving forward. Maybe that's the sign from what's been said here from Paul Hurst about Sir Jim Ratcliffe's relationship with Ruben Amorim. Well, you can look at it both ways. It's like you could say that it's a worry for you because Ruben Amorim is well on board with the Ineos project. Is he an Ineos puppet? Some people might say that if you want to look at this negatively. I don't necessarily think this is a negative. I think that this is a different approach for Manchester United, and this is an ownership model which is fully behind the man that they have chose to come in. So they are not going to bin Ruben Amorim off the back of these results. Now, United, I feel, obviously, pressure will be on going into next season, and Ruben does have to turn this around. But there is a big part of this, and again, tonight's game is going to be a massive part in this as well, and it's going to play a key role in that the backing of Ruben this summer is going to determine where a lot of the fan base at Manchester United say whether he needs to go or whether he needs to stay. Now, some have given up already. They're not seeing anything. I think even with them fans that have sort of had heavy criticism of Ruben Amorim over the last few days, and quite rightly so, you cannot ignore where United are in the league, and it's going to get worse if we don't win tonight. But I think even with them fans, there is that element of let's see what he can do in the transfer window with Ineos and the start of the season, and then I'll judge really harshly. But I think that's there with all Manchester United fans. Look, I know that Ruben can't afford to have a bad start next season. I'm a realist and I understand what happens in football. And Ruben has said this all along. I've just seen an interview that Ruben's done with Guillaume Balaguer in terms of what it means for Manchester United to win the Europa League. And Ruben's words on it were, no disrespect, the Manchester United winning the Europa League is not big. United need to be challenging for the Champions League and the Premier League. And again, the more and more he says this, Ruben Amorim, the more I'm thinking like there is a real drive from him, from Ineos, to get Manchester United back to that competitive, high-level football and get Manchester United involved in that again. And I feel like that being said, and where Ruben isn't using this as an excuse to cover up a horrible season for Manchester United, is exactly what the ownership want to hear. Like, no excuses from him. But then again, there can't be any excuses from Ineos this summer either. They need to be 100% behind Ruben Amorim. So Ruben's being judged, Ineos are being judged, and this summer is absolutely massive for Manchester United, as we know, because without it, Ruben is stuck, and Ruben isn't going to go anywhere. In terms of Ruben as well, in what Paul said in this piece, Ruben's managerial skills are appreciated at the highest levels. So apparently now Ruben Amorim has started to make a big impact behind the scenes at Manchester United. And we've seen in the way that press conference came across yesterday with Harry Maguire and Bruno Fernandes, all high spirits, dead chilled out, a complete contrast to what Ange Postecoglou's press conference was. My God, that literally, that man just needs to leave. He is not fit. I think he's going to end up driving himself into the ground if he carries on the way he's going. But look, pressure is on Ange Postecoglou. Bruno made joke of Ruben Amorim not being under pressure from a Jamie Jackson question in the press conference yesterday from The Guardian. And it does seem to be high-spirited. Interesting how he's got his past and present captains either side of him there in that press conference as well. But this was an interesting piece as well, which we've seen actually come through, I think, clearly on the pitch as well, in terms of what Casemiro and Ruben have been like as well. Ruben Amorim's managerial skills are appreciated at the highest levels. Casemiro and Amorim are now close, while Andre Nana appreciated having time to spend the weekend with his wife after the assault. We heard about that. Ruben has also said, or it's been said from Manchester United, Bruno Fernandes, Ahmad, Lenny Yoro and Harry Maguire are deemed as irreplaceable under Ruben Amorim. So clearly Harry Maguire has made his mark, and his leadership qualities are there as well. But you notice the names of the players there that have come in, like Ahmad and Lenny Yoro, the two younger players, the future of this football team, coming forward and really taking a step forward for Manchester United in a miserable season this season. And then the likes of Harry Maguire, Bruno Fernandes, Casemiro, the senior figures of this squad, really what seems to be holding the team together behind the scenes from what's been said here. I think this is key for Ruben Amorim moving forward. I think he understands that this isn't going to last forever, and this is why recruitment is key this summer, but there is not a chance from what I'm seeing here that the likes of Bruno and Harry Maguire are sold this summer. Like, look, the Bruno situation will develop after tonight. We know that anyway. We know that meetings are going on, and we'll see what comes of that. But we do know that Harry Maguire is going to be leaving next summer. He isn't going to get a new contract. I'm pretty certain United wouldn't do that. And that's where I think the ownership model and Ruben Amorim working together, that understanding, I think, is going to work for Man United going forward. Because I don't think they would allow Ruben, just because he is someone he can trust off the pitch and someone he can rely on with the leadership qualities necessary and the right mentality to be a United player, because Harry Maguire has got that. The quality and the age factor is what will determine that Harry Maguire leaves Manchester United eventually. I don't think there is anything to say that Harry Maguire, personally, for me anyway, deserves to be playing past next season. He deserves that extra year. And 6 years at United, going into his, creeping up to his mid-30s, I think he's done well. And I think he deserves a little bit of a send-off when he goes as well for everything that's happened with him. Hopefully, he plays a decent part again next season. I just don't think Manchester United should be falling back into the old traps again with these older players. And again, just ask in the comment section now, I'm going to come to you. In terms of the players that he's looked at there as irreplaceable, do you agree with that? Do you think that's it's a concern that some of the older players that we're looking to try and move on and move forward at Manchester United, being the irreplaceable ones, is a concern for you? Do you think that that is something to worry about as well? I'm going to get into the comment section on this in just a moment now. Please do get involved. We have got a lot to get through today as well, so we're going to get through it as quickly as we possibly can. Thank you everybody who has joined us this morning. If we can beat Bilbao here, we can do Spurs here, says Matt Ross with the first super chat of the day. I'm scared but confident enough. Manny with another super chat says, it's a strange feeling. I was more nervous at last year's FA Cup. This just feels like another game. Win or lose, I'm more worried about our summer window. I think you echo a lot of thoughts from a lot of the fan base there, Manny, mate. Blocky's in. I'm not in Bilbao and will therefore win tonight. We will therefore win tonight. And this is from Block. Taken a 1 for the team and the FUTV family. Come on, Reds. If you didn't know already or know of the relationship that Block has got with Manchester United, literally every game he goes to, United lose, which isn't hard to say this season because we've been awful and we've lost a lot of games. But just an example of what Block's influence is on Manchester United is that he was at the Lyon game and Manchester United went 4-2 down. And as soon as he left, Manchester United turned it around and won 5-4. If that's not proof on its own that Block should never be near a Manchester United game again, sorry, mate. Just go to the pub before the game and have a few drinks and then don't bother going in the ground. It might work well for you that way. That alone says tonight, and this is an exclusive for FUTV, by the way, Block not going to the game means that United are lifting that trophy tonight. That is your breaking news from today anyway. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on everything. Throughout the day, we're going to be taking comments on everyone's feelings about what's happening, everyone's teams and everything like that. But we are going to try and get through the other necessary news as well. In this in this relationship between Ruben and Sir Jim Radcliffe, do you feel like this is a good thing or a bad thing, everybody? What are we saying with this one? Because this, I feel, is a completely different setup at Manchester United now. And I've still not made my mind up whether this is a good thing or a bad thing myself. It's difficult because I don't want the ownership getting too involved. I would rather let the football people actually run Manchester United. But then again, Sir Jim Ratcliffe does have a massive interest in bringing the football back to Manchester United and making us competitive again. And if he is in the know or a thought of everything that's going on at Manchester United right there on the front line with the rest of his management team, then that might be a good thing because he can see the issues that are going on. And if Ruben is reporting to them constantly, weekly, daily, in fact, or even maybe the likes of Jason Wilcox and Omar Barada, then any problems that Ruben's got are not going to get swept under the carpet like with other previous managers, because the management team ahead of the other managers was just shocking. All they cared about was money and the commercialisation of Manchester United. So the football people in place, being right where they are and that close to Ruben Amorim, maybe that fast forwards certain decisions and makes it a little bit more ruthless, cutthroat, like we've always wanted. If you're not good enough, then you're out. Remember what we said the other day about going back to what Barada said, and we brought this up after the Chelsea game. If there's players at Manchester United that are not cutting it or doing it after being at the club for 2 years, then they're going to be moved on. The days of 3 and 4 years lingering around at Manchester United are over, and obviously that's 1 year in now with this new management team, that's going to take a little bit of time to move forward and bring in into full action, you would say, in the football club. Because we're talking here, obviously, just a moment ago about Bruno Fernandes, Harry Maguire and Casemiro, who all fall into that category. But let's be honest, I don't think any Man United fan has really got any issues with what either three of them are doing at the moment. The bigger picture is the conversation with them and the future of Manchester United. But right now, in this moment, obviously, Ruben Amorim's clinging on to everything he possibly can. He needs to build a network of loyal, reliable figures at Manchester United around him. He needs to recruit players that he knows that he can rely on the pitch and off the pitch. And that's what I think he means about the culture of Manchester United. And in a way, I think there's an element of the Gyökeres situation and what he said in that press conference about bringing players in that are wanting to come to Manchester United rather than because of the lucrative competitions they're playing in. I get that as well. And I think the difference with Gyökeres is he brought him from nothing. And he knows where he is in his career, and he understands the player. And I think that news that we brought you yesterday on Gyökeres and Manchester United being the only significant European team to make a move properly for Victor Gyökeres, I think that's because of Ruben. And this is that reliable, trustworthy relationship that he's got with certain players. And this is how he runs. This is how he gets the success from his teams. And it comes through him having that relationship and understanding with his players, I think, more than anything else. So when I look at that and I look at the players that he's picked out there, I'm thinking, yep, I can understand that. And then all that's left past that is what Ineos do for him. If they are that close and they understand him and they understand his concerns and what he's telling them weekly, then they know exactly what they need to do when the transfer window opens on June 1st. And everybody will be watching. If United hit the ground running and they get these two signings in, then bang, here we go. Interesting one on Manchester United, because tonight is going to influence the calibre of player that comes into United and how much money we spend, obviously. But Romano's comments yesterday about Manchester United's forward plans, as in the players we're going to bring in the 9 and the 10 role, it isn't just Delap. There are other players for Manchester United that they are looking at with or without the Champions League. So there is a plan B without Champions League, and there is a plan B with the Champions League, i.e. if we don't get our top targets, even if we're in the Champions League, because Liam Delap could just easily go and speak to Eddie Howe right now and feel that love and that emotion and that high sort of vibe, what's going on at Newcastle right now, and just be blown away. To be honest, if I'm being completely right down the line, I think Delap for Newcastle makes more sense than anything. It really does. He's just fitting in there into a rotation there with Eddie Howe and what he does, and they will love him up there. They will, and that's my fear. Like, I'm not completely scared of losing Liam Delap in the transfer fight with anybody in the Premier League. I'm scared about what happens if we don't get our number one choices. And like, I can go off what Romano said and say, yeah, we've got plan Bs. I just don't know about it. And with not knowing and the unknown being there, it kind of worries me with United that they might think that maybe Rasmus Højlund can be the one. Zirkzee coming back is enough right now. Chido coming through, another year development for him. That's when I start to go, oh, no, not again. And get concerned about it. The signs are saying no to that. So I'm going to hold confidence in that alone, but that's my biggest concern. But plan Bs and Cs, obviously I want plan As to work, because that means we win tonight and we get Victor Gyökeres. I think, going off the stories and everything that's been said, I think Liam Delap going elsewhere and speaking to all of the clubs has put Manchester United on the back foot a little bit. And I think this has pushed Victor Gyökeres forward. It's like, all right, you want 150 grand a week. We've met your clause. We've shown you Manchester United. If that's not good enough for you, then we're obviously going to make our second options and plan Bs available to us as well. And I think it's right. And I think this is where they've gone with it. But again, this is all going to come down to Ruben talking with Sir Jim, with Omar Barada, Jason Wilcox. It's like Jason Wilcox wants to lap. And we've just sold him Manchester United and this whole project. And he's still going around talking to other clubs. Is that not a red flag in Ruben's mind? Therefore, Ruben has let it known he wants to obviously speak to other players as well to see where they're at. Because if Ruben is going to stick to the we only buy players that want to come to Manchester United, and you've got a young player there that said, I'm going to go and speak to everybody else. I'm going to see who's in Europe next season. Straight away, ring-a-ding-ding, that is your red flag. Let me go and speak to Victor, and let's see what we can get from him, and let's really get a sense of where he is at. Because, again, like, the younger player isn't so much the Manchester United are a fantastic, brilliant football club type of player anymore. It's not like United's history goes all the way back and everybody knows what Manchester United once was. A lot of these younger players coming through right now are coming to the back end and seeing Manchester United fall, and maybe they think that it isn't the right place for them and things are changing. So we do have to look elsewhere. And I think I'm going to look at this and Ruben being close to the management team of Manchester United as a positive more than anything, because I think they do need to know what he's feeling straight away. And if they do know, then they know that he isn't happy and he cannot continue with this squad or with this culture or whatever it is that is the problem within Carrington if we're going to be successful next season. Look, I've said enough there. I'm going to get into the comment section now. Almac says, De Ligt, Maguire and Martinez should be phased out. De Ligt and Martinez top. Or is it too injury prone and Maguire too slow? De Ligt is not too injury prone, mate. He's played the majority of the season. I definitely disagree with the De Ligt one. Martinez, I have got a problem with, though, and Maguire is getting old, Al. So kind of see where you're going with them ones. Every player replaceable. Saying this just helps drive their prices up, says Jordan. I expect a big performance from Maguire tonight. Tonight could be his last chance to win another trophy at Manchester United. That's a real comment. Yep, because we're not in the Europa League next season. It's Champions League or bust, and we're not going to win the Champions League next year. We know that. We're not going to win the Premier League. FA Cup and Carabao Cup are the only trophies available, I think, realistically for United to win next season. And that's not me putting a dampener on what's to come. I think that's just being real about it. Brett says, Delat thinks he's better than he is. There are better young players out there if we scout properly. We need an experienced striker, an absolute priority. A lot would agree with that. MA says, it's disappointing that we focus more on the money from the Champions League qualification by winning the Europa rather than closing the gap on Liverpool in European Trophy Hall. What have we become as a club? No, I disagree with that, MA, completely. I'm sorry. I get what you're trying to say. I don't want to be looking at trophy halls. I want to be looking at Manchester United winning major trophies. Like, to say that the Carabao Cup, the FA Cup and the Europa League are just keeping our trophy tally up while Liverpool are winning European Cups, challenging for that and winning Premier Leagues, that's where I come into that conversation. This is not covering anything up for me. I'm with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I'm with Ruben Amorim on this. I'm not looking at these trophies as Manchester United just tottling up their numbers. Yes, you can say they're major trophies, but the reality is United are going to forget about this night going into the weekend. And then the reality of the Premier League against Aston Villa at Old Trafford on Sunday will come back in and it's going, right, okay, well, what about the bread and butter? We've just won everything that there is to win besides the two biggest trophies that United were renowned for and famous for. Are we going to start moving forward and start acting like the old Manchester United again and start really using what the Europa League has brought in for us money-wise, using that, utilising that and creating that Manchester United environment again with better players? That's how I see it. I get what you're saying in terms of Europa League, great second Europa League trophy for Manchester United. That'll be our sixth European trophy overall with the Cup Winners' Cup, 3 Champions League, and obviously these two. So it is significant and it does add to the history books. And don't get me wrong, like, the Europa League is a big trophy still, but you have to look at what it brings. And I think what it brings is more important than it's sitting there on the mantelpiece. I mean, I've been to Real Betis and I've seen them lord up them Europa League trophies in their trophy room like they are the be-all and end-all. Like, this is massive. And Seville is the same. Went to both of them clubs and they do make a big deal about them trophies. And they are not massive clubs. Massive clubs are your Bayern Munich's, your Liverpool's, your Real Madrid, your Barcelona's. That's where United should be. That's what United need to get back to. And this is a stepping stone. This is all it is. It's a stepping stone in the right direction, and it is a positive run in it tonight, mate. But we do need to recognise that this is just what is necessary for United to start moving in that direction, moving forward again. The question isn't if there are better players out there. The question is, where are the players that fit Amorim's very niche requirements? Again, think outside the box. Yep, Manny, bang on. I think it is about the characteristics and the profile. Exactly on what he needs to bring in. Like, there are obvious players there that look great on paper that might not fit. Like Garnacho, if he leaves Manchester United, will probably slot in somewhere on the wing for another club and destroy it. Doesn't necessarily mean that he fits what Ruben wants. Under Ten Hag, I think Garnacho would have been killing it right now. I do, because it suits him better and he's more comfortable with it. He's having to do things that he's not used to and do things that are not what naturally come to him, I don't think, Garnacho. He's learning and getting better at it, but it's easier if you're playing in a system. It's like a striker works better with someone next to him, but as a lone striker he struggles. Different systems work better for certain players. If you adapt, you become one of them great players. If you don't adapt, you become one of them run-of-the-mill that can only play in a certain system. And this is what I'm talking about. If these players cannot hack Ruben Amorim's system, and everybody's moaning about Ruben Amorim because he's changing it and he's being too stubborn, no, hang on a minute. Remember where you are. Remember this is Manchester United. And if you cannot handle a different formation or a different way of playing, then you don't belong at Manchester United. You're not an elite player. You're not good enough. That there tells you everything you need to know for me. And I think Ruben will be looking at that as well and going, right, okay, I've had 7 months of this. These players have turned up in Europe when the intensity is not as much and we've got the trophy and we've got out of jail. But that should be the alarm bell ringing in his head as to what's necessary going into the summer. And like we said at the top of the show, when this relationship and close relationship with the ownership, I think, is key for this, because what he's thinking, they're knowing instantly. It's not festering. It's not getting covered up. It's bang. It's on the phone. It's talking. This isn't right. That's not working. This is where I think this went wrong. And they can see exactly what's happening. And let's be honest, Manchester United's management team before Ineos came in, like the Myrtles and Arnolds, were sat there in the stands. They were just, what were they doing? You can actually see, like, Wilcox on the training ground, Wilcox in the stadium, Wilcox watching every single game, going to the women's game, going to the under-21s games, the under-18s games. Wilcox is everywhere. You didn't get this before. This is a man dedicated to his trade, and I think will be a massive difference for Manchester United. And if he has got a good relationship with Ruben Amorim, then Ruben Amorim will go far with this ownership model. A lot further than what we hoped anyway. It's a shame players can now hold clubs to ransom by demanding Champions League. Money talks now and not the badge, says Babs. Good comment, Babs. Very good comment. You're dead right about that as well. Thank you everybody who's liked the video already, by the way. We're absolutely smashing it this morning. Please give the video a thumbs up if you're loving the content. Make sure you hit that subscribe button as well. We're on the way to 80k. That's our next mark for the subscribers anyway. We're closing in. Are we going to get silver play button this year? That's the target, everybody. Let's hope we can get there. Garnacho can get better, have someone he can learn from while he learns as a squad player. Why do we expect our youngsters to be world class in our situation? Lila, I don't think that's the case at all. I think what I've said along with Garnacho is he belongs on the bench. He's a player that's come through Man United's academy that should be just coming on and off at the moment. Instead, we've pinned him up like he's this superstar when he's really not. And he has got that in his head now. And his agency will get that in their heads. And they will drive that harder bargain. Like, if Garnacho is willing to learn, then we move forward. And Garnacho moves forward. And he will move forward with Ruben Amorim, definitely. I want him to stay. I would love Garnacho to be an option in squad rotation for United. I think he'll learn so much more and become a miles better player. And that's that United DNA then being brought through these players. Look, that's enough on that section anyway. We've gone nearly 30 minutes on that. My God. Sorry, everybody. We do want to get into other news. And that is on Emi Martinez. Now, I've put a poll up at the start of the show. Well over 1,000 people have voted on this poll already. Would you spend 40 million on Aston Villa goalkeeper Emi Martinez, because that's the story that's come out from TalkSport this morning. Alex Crook saying that Aston Villa have named their price. Ben Jacobs on this as well. 40 million. Would you spend 40 million on Emi Martinez? 59% of you have said yes, you would spend that much. Look, we spent 47 million on Andre Onana. I think it's a no-brainer. Honestly, if we win tonight, and we're going into that transfer window, I'm buying Emi Martinez for that price, if that's what it is. I would spend that much of Manchester United's budget on it. I know that divides opinion. I know a lot of people think you should be spending it elsewhere on this squad, and the goalkeeper's not as important. I think it is, and it is only my opinion. And nearly 60% of you have said that you would also spend that amount of money on a goalkeeper, especially the quality of Emi Martinez. Next season, United could be going into the season with 2 World Cup winners in our back line, with Leacher and Emi Martinez. Look, I'm making jokes about things there, but in all seriousness, with Martinez, I just think that is the best that you can get, and an opportunity to buy the best this summer for United may be limited. If a gift horse is there, like you said, don't look a gift horse in the mouth, like in the face. Like you need to make these things happen. And United, I think, if I'm going to just say this now, if Sir Alex Ferguson was in charge of Manchester United and Emi Martinez came up and was available, he'd have been knocking on David Gill's door and saying, we need to make this happen. This is key for Manchester United. This is a match winner right here. And that man, behind that young defence that's coming through, and I'm talking the likes of Lenny Yoro, teenager, Aidan Heaven, teenager, and I just look at that and I go, he is perfect. He is absolutely perfect for Man United's project under Ruben Amorim. He's a leader. He's a captain. He has got every single bit of experience that you want. He plays every single type of goalkeeper that you need. Versatility, honestly, distribution, everything that you could possibly want. He's in the top 5 goalkeepers in the world right now. And if he's available for 40 million, I'm spending that chunk of our budget and making that happen. 100% I would make that happen. I would go as far as to say to Aston Villa, take Rashford for 30 and give us Martinez to try and sweeten it. That's how important I think that deal is for Manchester United. And no one will convince me otherwise. You can say I'm in the Defenders Union and how important a goalkeeper is. It is that important. And you look at Raya at Arsenal. You look at Alisson at Liverpool. You only have to look at... Who's the other one I'm thinking of right now? You look how poor Chelsea are with their goalkeeper and where they might be. You look at Sells at Forest and how well he's played this season. A big part of why Nottingham Forest are where they are. At Manchester City with Ederson and what they spent on him. It is a absolutely huge position for Manchester United to actually, I think, sort out this summer. And in that as well, on the other news, Altay Bayındır is definitely going to be sold. That news has also come out last night. We are going to be seeing Bayındır moved on to at least bring in another goalkeeper to challenge Andre Onana. Now, the reports of Onana going to the Saudi Pro League were there last night. Again, not too much noise on it, but the word is that United would bring Martinez in if Andre Onana was leaving. I said yesterday, you make Andre Onana leave and you bring Martinez in. I think that is just a no-brainer. Look, I'm not expecting everybody to agree with me on that at all, and it's totally fine if you don't think the goalkeeper should be a priority for United this summer. I get that there is big positions elsewhere. I just feel like when you look at investment and you look at Martinez, then I think he's a goalkeeper's play up to the bleeding 40. You've got 8 years worth there of the top and the best. I just look at that and think that is the right move for United. I really do think that would be as big as bringing in a striker. Andy Atherton with a super chat says, hi Adam, here's £10 towards a celebratory drink tonight after we beat Spurs 2-1. I love that confidence, Andy. Come on, FUTV fans, let's like the video and contribute towards Adam and Kaz's bottle of champagne. Come on, United. I love it. That's exactly the type of mood and confidence we need going into the game tonight. Joseph with another super chat says, Charlotte Ferguson once said that strikers win games and defence win titles. We need a new keeper. 100%, Joseph. I am with you, my friend. 100%. And thank you again for that super chat. Thank you for everyone who has actually super chatted so far in the show. I'm going to leave that poll running all the way through, actually. 1,200 votes, and nearly 60% of you are saying you would spend that money on Emi Martinez and bring him into Manchester United. It is significant, isn't it? It really is significant, having a proper goalkeeper, but it is a significant amount of money, and I understand the argument. I do. I get it. I'm not saying that I am right and this is how it should be. I just look at that and go, surely Man United need to be thinking this, at least thinking it. Manny with another super chat says, Adam, I'd look at bringing David De Gea back too if Emi doesn't work out. He's just signed that contract extension at Fiorentina, mate. I can't see that happening. I mean, Fiorentina know what they've got there, and David De Gea fits perfectly for them. So no chance of De Gea coming back to Man United. Cheers again for the super, buddy. Anyone out there in Bilbao right now, get your comments in the comment section as well. I dread to think the conversation if we lose at this final. Every player sacked, entire training ground burnt down by Jim Radcliffe for an insurance claim. Not that bad, but I think it will be a bad vibe, mate. Definitely. Let's see what we've got here elsewhere. Nico says, if Ahmad does pass the ball today, he should leave in the summer. Make sure you lot to keep the same energy. If Ahmad does pass the ball today, did you say that right? Did you say that right, Nico? I've got no idea what you're talking about, because I can just think back to the games where he has passed to other players and they haven't taken their chances. Leave Ahmad out of this, my friend. Leave him out of this. See what we got. Lila says, no to De Gea. Have people forgot his last season? Selective memory. There's so many differing opinions in here right now. It is crazy. And this is what we want. This is the uncertainty. This is everything that we should have in a good old-fashioned Manchester United debate, especially on the match day, everyone. I mean, are you confident about tonight? I'm going to be doing a live show at 5 o'clock in build-up to the game. We'll have an update show on everything else going on, probably at 12:30 today as well, everyone. So 12 o'clock, 5 o'clock, then we're going to be doing a watch-along before the game over on Big Up as well. So make sure that you're up to date with everything going on there in terms of the schedule. We'll be live right after the game here on YouTube as well, so we've got plenty to get through today, and we are going to be very, very busy. So keep your comments flooding in on this show. Quick one as well, just an update on the Mason Greenwood situation, and a clause that nobody knew about, but the president of Marseille has come out and said that they are now obliged to pay Manchester United another 10% of his, I can't remember what rights it was to him. The article, I read through it last night. But because Mason Greenwood has helped Marseille qualify for the Champions League, not only do United have that sell-on clause, which I don't know if they're looking to trigger or not, Manchester United now will receive another 10% on the original 50% of the rights to Mason Greenwood that they bought, which was, in the president's words, the only way that they could match what Manchester United wanted. So they haven't got the full ownership of Mason Greenwood, but they are now obliged to pay another 10%. How much that is, I haven't found out yet. I don't know how much it would be, but Manchester United will receive another fee from Marseille for Mason Greenwood this summer. So that obviously bodes well, on top of what we are going to get for Alvaro Fernandez as well, which will be triggered, like we said yesterday, after the final tonight. Manchester United will claim their compensation from the deal after everything's all been said and done tonight. And obviously we're going to be looking at all of the situations that Manchester United are looking at now. I think after tomorrow, I'm just thinking about that now, actually. Like Manchester United tomorrow morning, and the news that we're going to be talking about. Obviously, I think there are stories out there that journalists know, but they're timing the release of these stories. I guarantee it. Tomorrow will be all the celebrations of United win, and Manchester United picking up the trophies and everyone talking about that, and we will be the same. But I guarantee as soon as if United win the trophy the next day, you wait and see the news and watch the news flooding through every single source. It will be bombardment time for Manchester United and the news, and the headlines will be everywhere, and it'll all be about Man United's future. And that again is the absolute importance of tonight's game. Manchester United winning tonight, I think it just triggers everything going forward for us. And I think it's like it just makes it all come home again. It does. I'm actually quite upbeat regarding the mood around Manchester United going into this final. The fact that Joshua Zirkzee is back. The fact that Ruben was joking around with Maguire and Bruno in the press conference yesterday. The atmosphere and the vibe around United feels really good. Like it does feel like United are in a different place right now. How? God. Like, how they can't transfer that onto the pitch in the Premier League, I do not know. But I think it's a good omen going into the final. Like, around the Europa League, it has been relaxed. I mean, we're not used to defeat. These trips away to Europe, these home games, like everything. I watched a whole review of the Europa League last night, every single game. And I went back through every single memory of every game that United played, thinking, oh, got to remember thinking this at the time. I remember watching Rasmus Højlund's form in the early stages of the Europa League, thinking, just give me a bit of that tonight, Rasmus, son. Give me a bit of that Victoria Pilsen form, where he's latching onto that ball from Bruno from that free kick and scoring in the 87th minute to give United their first away win in Europe. I think, what was it, in 20 months or something like that? And then we've not looked back. We've not looked back from that moment. And some big performance. But one thing that Manchester United have done in the Europa League so far this season, the amount of late goals. You only have to go right back, thinking to the Rangers game, thinking to the Fenerbahce game, that Maguire scored his goal, Bruno scored his goal. That goal in the last 3 minutes against Victoria Pilsen away from home for Rasmus Højlund in that game. Mason Mount's goals in the Bilbao game. Obviously, the Lyon game at home for Manchester United. It has been an absolute goal fest of late drama for United. And I think looking at that and going through them games last night and watching them, I was sat there and I'm thinking, do you know what? At least we've actually shown character and determination in this competition. And it has been a consistent, all the way through this tournament, that United have clung on till the end and never given up. So at least we can say, and I know it's no excuse for what's happened domestically for United this season, in Europe, they have got the mentality right. And tonight, I think we can just try and forget, just for one game, everything that's been bad and look at that positive going into this and try and win this game. That's what I think is more important than anything else right now for United. And I think they have got it. I think they've got it tonight off the back of that. And that never say die attitude, which should be staple at Manchester United. But at least it's been there in this competition. And hopefully they can carry that into the final tonight. That even if Spurs score, Manchester United can win. That's the mentality that we need. And that's what we've had throughout this competition. We just don't seem to be able to handle playing domestic football at weekends. And again, we'll deal with that on Saturday. We'll deal with that on Sunday. And I'll be moaning, I'll be bitching about how poor we've been in the Premier League. Quite rightly so as well. But tonight, that gets forgotten about. Tonight, forget about Chelsea, Aston Villa, either side of this game. There's only one thing that matters. And the only thing that matters is Man United beating Spurs in the Europa League final in Bilbao tonight. And I think the Reds are coming home with a trophy. I do. I feel, I'm nervous as hell. Don't get me wrong. I'm a wreck. Honestly, like I said at the top of the show, I literally woke up this morning and I've got a banging headache already just thinking about it. And I just, like, I'm like, oh, God, why am I feeling this way? And straight away, like, you start to come around and you realise that it's the cup final day and this team is going to absolutely put me through the ringer tonight. I know, I think there's been so many games this season where I've been that enraged. I've seen stars in front of my head. Like, I've just lost the plot watching United this season completely. And I think, like all Manchester United fans, tonight they should be just giving us that guarantee, that little bit of something back. And I think that's what's important for all Manchester United fans. I think just reminding this United fan base that they do have that bit of care. They do think about the fans. They owe it to us tonight to win the trophy, just to give us that little bit of a comfort blanket going into this summer. That's all it is. Just give us that. Give us that little bit of something else. Let's get a few more comments in. Let's see what we've got here. Lindsay and Holly says, I'm worried about red cards. I think Dargo in heaven can make silly tackles sometimes, but hopefully not tonight. Come on, United. Gono says, why would Villa sell Martinez? Because he can't go to the ground. Look at Sarr goals against Palace. Hence, Villa are going for Juan Garcia. Why would they sell him? You just completely contradicted your own comment there a little bit, mate. Anyway, let's get a couple more in. Joseph again with a super chat says, I'm so nervous, but I think we'll win. My guts are already churning. I think I'll watch the game while sitting on the toilet. Too much information there, Joseph, but thank you, mate. We get what you're saying. Nervous Norman. MB says, Amorim could look to keep one wing-back defensive overcompensate on the other flank. Lure Spurs in, then sub and go for it. Amorim's options are numerous to how he can handle this one-off game. Can't wait. I think you're right. I think he does have a lot of options on how to play tonight. And having the options of Joshua Zirkzee to come on as well, I think are key. I think the key one as well, key decision for him to make is who he plays up front in that front three. Does he go with Bruno as a holding player and push Mount and Ahmad forward? There is talk of a false nine. He kind of panned that one off yesterday. That's not going to happen. Does Mount start or does Garnacho start? I honestly think he's going to be putting Garnacho on the pitch. I don't think Mount starts. I think it'll be Ahmad, Garnacho and Højlund up front, personally. I think that's... I've run through different teams in my head constantly now over the last 2 days. I think that's what he's going to go with. And I've seen one of them stupid Instagram posts with all of the Europa League final emblems and logos behind the players that you always see when a player's confident he's going to be playing. I would play Mount over Garnacho in this game. I really would. I think he looks after the ball better and he's stronger, more physical. And I think they're going to need that physicality against that backline of Tottenham's. I would play Mount, but I think he's going to play Garnacho. I think Ahmad will definitely play. And I think the midfield will be Casemiro. And I think it'll be Casemiro and Bruno. I do. He could go Bruno with Ahmad and play Mount and Garnacho on the bench. I'd be really disappointed if he doesn't play Ahmad from the start, though. Adam, after Bruno pings passes to Ahmad for Ahmad to destroy that Spurs left side, you won't be moaning about the EPL. I won't be moaning tonight if we win, mate. I'll be moaning on Sunday. Because you know what's coming. Højlund should turn up because Romero and Van der Ven should not have the confidence to urge during the game, or surge or urge during the game. Not sure what you mean by that one, mate. Players that need to listen to Serenity, Lionheart album before the games. I think they've all got their own chill out music, mate, to be honest. Keep Zirkzee making it back quiet. Kept Zirkzee making it back quiet. We did, didn't we? It was good. Well done, United, for not simply posting on the official website. Love to see him score tonight, and so much better at holding the ball up than Rasmus. Yes, I said to Kaz last night, the perfect end to this game would be that it's tight. You're going into the last few minutes of the game, and Joshua Zirkzee, after the season that he's had, comes on and gets the winner. That is my perfect end for tonight. That would be glorious. It really would. What an ending to a season for Joshua Zirkzee. What an ending to the season for Manchester United. And one of the signings that was brought in this summer that has had so much criticism comes on and scores the winner. That's what I'm thinking. Graham, who's out in Bilbao, says, not worried about tonight. Will take care of itself. Games against Spurs this season are always outliers. First game, 10 Bob in charge and a red card. The Spurs home game, United had no fit options. We had the Carabao Cup, which was carnage, and it was just a goalkeeping error fest. Andre Onana made another error in the game against Spurs as well. Was it him or was it Bain Day who played that? I can't even remember now. Look, no keeper errors tonight, please, and we beat Spurs. I think that's what we're looking at. That's where Manchester United are at. Look, that is pretty much all of your up-to-date information on the game so far. Nothing else has come out regarding players or any updates on player injuries or anything like that. It is all go. We know who's available. We know who can play. And hopefully, we are going to get a performance from the boys. And don't forget tonight on the watch along, everybody, Match Bingo, our very own Match Bingo card for FUTV subscribers only. One of you lot is going to win the jackpot in excess of £300. There are going to be multiple other winners as well on the game. Only us here on Forever United TV are involved in this game. That's if you scan the QR code on your screen or click on that link in the live chat right now. It is a Spurs v United Europa League special. You have to be a UK resident and 18 and over to participate. Buy your tickets now. £2 a ticket, everybody. That is it. You can get up to 5 tickets. It's just like playing bingo with match events. That is it. All you have to do is match up 5 in a row. That could be a goal, a throw-in, a corner, offside, anything. If you get 5 in a row, 25 quid, instant win. If you do the same again on another line, it's another instant win of 25 quid. And then get all 15, and that big jackpot is yours. If we do sell more than 300 tickets for this game, even if nobody makes the jackpot, we're going to give that money away anyway, live on YouTube tonight. So we need to sell as many tickets as possible. And even if there is no winners, we're still going to give the jackpot away as a Europa League final special. So if you are not involved, download the app, deposit £5 and you get an extra £10 on it as well as a new customer with Match Bingo. Get involved. You are missing out if you haven't already. Scan the QR code or hit that link in the description, everybody. It is a great bit of fun to have while the game is on. And obviously, we will all be involved in it on the watch along, so looking forward to that. But that is it for now, everyone. Thank you so much for being part of the show. Thank you, everybody who has donated. We had well over 400 live likes, which is amazing. Thank you, everybody. Please give the video a like on the way out. Make sure that you hit that subscribe button as well, everybody. Match day is here. Your content is jam-packed. I'll see you at lunchtime between 12 and 12:30. Then we're back at 5 o'clock live as well with our warm-up as well to the big game this evening. And we're going to be live right after the game finishes on YouTube here as well. We will have the watch along live also on Big Up later on as well, everybody. More information on that as we go forward. But for now, everyone, have a great match day. Start of it anyway. Get yourself calm, settled, do what you've got to do pre-match routine-wise throughout the day. Enjoy yourselves if you're over in Bilbao, please, everybody. Have a drink on me. And I'll see you all later on. Here we go. Match day started, everybody.